Let's go to Shanghai. It's the latest city to enter COVID lockdowns in China after a weekend with some of the highest numbers of daily COVID cases since the pandemic began. Shanghai is also the largest single city to enforce China's zero COVID policy to date. But some people there say the price of the policy is just too high, especially since COVID cases in China are relatively low compared to other countries that are living with the virus. NBC News foreign correspondent Janis Mackey Frayer joins us now from Beijing with more details on this lockdown. Hey, Janis, good to see you. So officials in Shanghai had actually originally denied that they'd be putting the city on lockdown, hoping to keep the financial district specifically open while also maintaining China's strict zero COVID policy. But obviously that position's reversed. What prompted that?
Well, up until Saturday, these officials were denying rumors of a lockdown. They even had people punished for, quote unquote, spreading false information. And then by Sunday, they had announced this two-phase plan to lock the city down. And this is a city of nearly 26 million people. It's the financial heart of the country, arguably China's most cosmopolitan city. Right now, half of it isn't moving. The idea is that they want to contain the rapid spread of the BA2 variant known as stealth Omicron. Most of the cases are asymptomatic, but this is the largest COVID rollout, COVID lockdown that we've seen yet. Public transit has been closed down in half the city. People are being told to stay at home. Schools are being closed. Traffic is being limited. That's for half of the city now. Then by the end of the week, the other half of the city will have the same lockdown conditions.
Yeah, so Janis, you're sort of referencing this, but the city's calling this yin-yang lockdown policy. What does that mean, and how is it different from the lockdowns we saw 2 years ago in China?
Well, for the past 2 years, it's been the same playbook. All of the same tactics are being used with quarantines, mass testing, putting people into isolation facilities in order to try to stamp out any sort of infection in keeping with this zero COVID policy. What we're seeing in Shanghai is not exactly a full lockdown of China's biggest city, but a half-half approach. People were posting pictures on social media of a hot pot, you know, with divided in half, and that's effectively what it is. Right now, the eastern half of the city is in full lockdown and will undergo mass testing. And then at the end of the week, the western part of the city on the other side of the river will have the same sort of approach. The concern, of course, is that there is going to be the healthcare system is going to be overwhelmed because under the zero COVID policy, every confirmed case goes to the hospital. And that's why they're creating these isolation centers where mild symptomatic cases or asymptomatic cases are being put into a different type of centralized quarantine.
And Janis, quickly before I let you go, tell us, what are people saying about these lockdowns? I mean, is there panic to get everything needed for another lockdown indoors?
Well, for the people who are in lockdown right now, there was barely any notice. It was a snap lockdown, so there was some panic buying. There were videos on social media of people like duking it out over food and store shelves that had been stripped bare. People in the western part of the city that will undergo the lockdown later in the week feel like they've had a few more days to prepare. But it's impacting millions of daily lives, and it's having an impact on the economy, too, on manufacturing, on shipping. There's one economist in Hong Kong who figures that lockdowns across China are costing the economy $46 billion a month, just over 3% of GDP. So they're saying that at some point something's going to have to give, that this zero COVID policy just isn't sustainable. As well, when you get mass testing, naturally, Savannah, you're going to have the number of cases go up. So the concern, of course, is that if the numbers start going through the roof with testing results, it's going to be more measures and maybe a longer lockdown for cities like Shanghai.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, something we will keep our eyes on. Janis Mackey Frayer, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.